Hey guys, Nick with Lethal Injection Outdoors. I'm just bringing the next segment here for our Lethal Life series. And I wanted to take a minute to talk about deer recovery and shot feedback. I've been seeing a lot of stuff of late in online forums, unfortunately, about people asking about their shot, talking about where they think they hit the deer, and even posting diagrams and pictures of deer and marking where they aimed and where they thought they hit, and more often than not, those do not end well, with people not finding their deer. So I wanted to take a big step backwards though and talk a little bit about what we should all be thinking about and what we should all be doing even before the season starts. And that starts with practice. You know, if you're just shooting 20 yards from the ground at a block or a 3D target over and over, that's great. I mean, getting out there, getting your reps. But if you're doing that and then you're climbing a 25-foot tree and shooting a deer 20 yards, maybe 30 yards, that is a completely different shot. So before the season even starts, you've got to think about realistic practice and realistic scenarios that are going to prepare you, because those angles are just very, very different. How that arrow penetrates and where it goes is just, it does make a big difference. The second thing is actually waiting for the proper shot. Most everybody, if not everybody, should know that broadside quartering away is your optimal shot. Some folks that are a little bit more seasoned can take those quartering two shots, but just understand those are much lower percentage shots. They just are. A lot more difficult to penetrate, shoulder bone, shoulder blades, the angles are tighter. So it's about waiting for that optimal shot and increasing your odds. And if you don't get that shot, or the deer doesn't present it to you, well, great, that's okay too. I mean, at least you get another chance at some point down the road. The third thing is understanding the feedback of your shot. And there's a couple different components here I just want to talk about for a minute. The first is what you hear and what you see at the time of the shot. What you're seeing, hopefully, if you're not, strongly recommend shooting lighted Nox. We shoot Glory Nox. I'm shooting Glory Nox here on my Black Eagle Deep Impacts, and I know, based on that lighted Nox, whether it's daytime, nighttime, doesn't matter, I know where my shot went, and that gives me more confidence, and it's a piece of that puzzle that I'm putting together that's helping me understand whether or not and when I should start tracking. The sound that you're getting. Going back to the lighted Nox for a second, after you make that shot, hopefully you see the deer go down. If you see the deer go down, great, game over, right? You just give them a little bit of time and walk up and you're good. But if that deer runs off, you hunt in thick areas, bedding areas like I do, you know, they're not running across fields. I don't get that luxury. So a lot of times I'm relying on my lighted Nox, the Glory Nox in this case, to help me find my arrow, because that arrow provides a ton of feedback on what just happened. What kind of shot did you make? If you don't know how to read blood, there's plenty of other, charts and diagrams and different blogs out there that you can just read about real quick. But take a look at that if you don't, or you're not confident enough, because blood isn't just blood. There are differences, and if you're able to find your arrow quickly by the aid of a lighted Nox, especially when it's difficult to find in grasses and things like that, you're going to get some really good information there and put another piece of that puzzle together. Bubbles, you know, lung shot, that's good. And then knowing that you've got a good hit, you've got a mortal hit, knowing that you can have that confidence to start tracking, of course, after you've waited a period of time. And then utilizing that blood trail to ultimately lead you to the successful recovery of that deer. If you're not getting that bright oxygenated blood, or you smell that arrow and it has a foul smell, it's bile, you got to give that deer time. You got to back away from it, as tempting as it is. As hunters, we're just programmed, as human beings, we're programmed to push. You know, we want to go find that animal. We want to see, especially if you shot a nice buck, You want to go see it. The deer is programmed at that point to survive. And so by getting down and pushing too hard or pushing too early or pushing a deer that is not mortally wounded but will die, it's just going to take longer, your percentages of recovering that deer drop dramatically. I personally believe if you have a mortally wounded deer, good blood trail like that, you're 90% of the time or greater, you're going to find that animal. If you bump them and it's a marginal hit, one that will ultimately kill them, but it's marginal, they're not going to get up and run 100 yards. They are going to get up and they are going to run for days. And some of you, based on what I'm seeing in these online forums, have experienced that. I've experienced that. If you hunt long enough, you're going to. But you got to know when to back off and give that animal time. If you bump that deer, it's going to be very, very challenging to recover them successfully. So take all these pieces of the puzzle, put them together, utilize them, and I can guarantee you that's going to increase your likelihood of a successful recovery. Hopefully your season is going well, as ours is. We're getting ready to head out to Missouri here in a couple of days, so stay tuned to the channel. Check us out, get out there, and get lethal.